Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and today we're looking at Spyderco's Slysz Bowie. Alright guys, we know that this is Nick's favorite knife, but Nick Shabazz did not lend it to us. It was another Nick. And it's not his favorite knife, and unfortunately it's not really mine either. And we're going to get into that as we go along. What we get out of the Slysz Bowie is a handle closed of 4.41 inches, a nice skinny 0.45 in handle thickness, a closed height of normal Spyderco-ness, so it's 1.41, a little tall, and a weight of 4.29 ounces. And, you know, all of that sounds good, doesn't it? And it's a beautiful knife. We got this nice smooth titanium handle scale. We've got our G10 backspacer with a little bit of jimping in it. And we've got our deep carry wire pocket clip, one of my absolute favorites in the world. And we got a nice little lanyard hole, and everything just looks beautiful. We've got a nice CTX XHP blade laying down in there, and it's centered up great. Just beautiful. And I should love this knife. But as we go along, you'll find out why I don't. Let's get some size comparison out of the way. We have our buck 110, and still yet our rat is on vacation, so we will use a Griptilian, the sheep's foot model. And, you know, we're right in there with these knives. Just about the same size, a little lighter than the buck, a little heavier than the Griptilian. And we'll throw a couple of other Spydercos out here. Mantra, which is one of my favorites, very similar in design and construction as far as materials go, but vastly different in handling. And same with the Delica. And it's really not too far from being in line with these guys either. So, you know, there we go. But now let's get a look at this blade. And this blade is a thing of beauty. It's a piece of CTS XHP that has been ground up pretty freaking high, and then it's been stonewashed, and then it was polished. And it is just absolutely beautiful. And then we put a nice, beautiful edge on it, and we get a knife that is made to cut. I mean, this thing is just like almost any other Spyderco. It is designed to cut. Full height, flat grind, nice spider hole. Doesn't have those normal sharp edges that we get on a lot of the Spydercos. Very nice there. And we got Martin Slysz's design, a little logo here. And we got Taichung Taiwan there up against the handle. And Spyderco CTS XHP on the other side. So they didn't make too bad a billboard out of it either. And we have a really, really nice action. And from here we'll go to our pause and read card, and I'll be right back with you. Alright guys, let's get this Slysz Bowie down in the bucket of our Levi's and see what we've got. When we slide this guy down in here, it rides down nice and deep. And very little of the knife sticking out. And it's just classic Spyderco with their deep carry wire pocket clip. It's just excellent. You know, we can get our piece of paper here, and it's kind of pointless. It's just, these clips work in just about any type of pants. Now, they do have some flip up there, as we saw, and they can get lifted. And if they do get lifted, something getting under them and pushing them up, that is one place that this style of pocket clip does fall flat, because it's completely smooth under there and doesn't have the spring tension that a stamped pocket clip or a milled pocket clip would have. But I still love them. And anyhow, it's tip up, left or right hand. Why they even added the left hand on this one, I don't know, because, well, we'll get into that here in a minute. But anyhow, the pocket clip is a beautiful thing. I love these Spyderco wire pocket clips. All right, mechanically, we're doing really, really well too. We've got a standard Spyderco sleeve and torque screws pivot and phosphor bronze bushings, and it works good. Free falling knife, I mean, works really, really well. And it is a frame lock. Now, it is a little later than I would like to see, but I don't know really how old this knife is. And I don't get nearly as upset about that as some people do. But we're at about 60, maybe 70% there, but, you know, that's okay. It locks up super solid. No play in it. Beautiful, beautiful thing. Now let's move on to ergonomics, and this is where things start to get a little weird for me. My hand fits in it almost perfectly. Now the pocket clip is that titanium wire clip, I believe, and it kind of wobbles around a little bit, but that actually helps with ergonomics. It just goes where it needs to go. However, I want you to look at this. I have medium-large hands, and if you have hands bigger than mine, this knife is not going to work for you. We have a hook here and a hook here, and if your hand is a few millimeters wider than mine, you're out of luck. And that is a very unfortunate thing for such a nice knife. And the other thing with ergonomics that just drives me insane, and I know it's a Martin Slysz thing, and he's built us a beautiful, beautiful knife, but if you're right-handed, it's perfect. You can flick that blade right out there, you can roll it out, you can do whatever you need to do, and the whole mechanism is super smooth. You go left-handed, and your thumb is completely out of the picture. Can't get it because you're going to be pushing down on the lock bar as you're trying to open the knife. So you got to Spidey flick it. And you're saying, well, that ain't bad. I can Spidey flick left-handed. Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. The issue here is we don't have similar ergonomics left hand to right hand, and for some lefties, that's going to leave them out in the cold because they don't want to Spidey flick it. They're going to want to roll it open, or they're going to want to use a regular thumb flick. And that is unfortunate. And what I found was, you know, the Techno, the smaller Martin Slysz design, which is very similar right there, it didn't bother me that you had to Spidey flick on one side and thumb flick on the other. But with a full-size standard knife, whenever I carried this guy, that bothered me a lot. That if I swapped hands, I had to remember that it opened in a different manner in the other hand. So that's something to think about if you think you may want a Slysz Bowie. You know, whenever we're talking about a knife that has a street price of about $300, those kind of things matter. So you want to be sure that you're okay with that before you go and pick up this knife. Now, the other thing I found was whenever I went out and used it, I didn't get that warm fuzzy that I get off, say, the Mantra. The Mantra, whenever I get it in my hand, it's just like, yeah, I'm in there. This is the knife. Now, I can't explain that because I don't know what it is. It just, the knife did not work as well for me as I imagined that it would. So, you know, here and there, you may be completely different. That's just what it did for me. So we kind of went over it. I did kind of forget this. Our screws and hardware are all good. This is some of Spyderco's good stuff. They are pretty deep in the recesses. The stuff that's not going to mess up your Torx bits and not going to strip out unless you have to deal with the red Loctite, and I'm not sure about that with this one. I did not take it apart because, like I said earlier, it's Nix, and it's not that Nix, it's a different Nix. And overall, I just wasn't as impressed as I wanted to be with this knife. I really, really thought that whenever I got a Slysz Bowie in my hands, that I was going to be $300 poorer. But I'm not. I'm going to pack this thing back up and send it to Nick, and he's going to kind of enjoy it. We've talked, and he kind of has very similar opinions about the Slysz Bowie that I do, so you know, maybe he'll let it move along. He's doing some knife sales here recently. So, Oh, guys, one more thing. I don't know who makes these super slick little knife pockets for Nick, and hopefully he'll chime in and let us know. But check this out. We've got kind of a felted material here, inside and out, and nicely stitched. Knives fit in it. Now, some of these bigger knives don't fit in these really well, but they fit in there good enough, and they're well protected, especially if you're going to be shipping knives around. These are beautiful, Nick. Let us know who's making them for you. You know, there's some people out there that may want some of them, because that is just beautiful. I was really impressed when they showed up in those things, and I really appreciated it. Anyhow, we're going to move along. Overall, guys, it is a great knife. It just has some design flaw, in my opinion, and you're going to hear that over and over from me. If you have a knife that can't be handled ambidextrously, now that doesn't mean it has to be left-handed or right-handed. It just means that if I can't pick up the knife and open it or close it with pretty much the same movement in either hand, then to me it's not ambidextrous. Now, I understand lock bars, you're going to have to do different things with different hands, and that's fine. My hands have learned those things. But as far as opening it, we'll get the mantra back out here. And our buck marksman's another good example. You open and close the buck marksman. That was good, wasn't it? You can do it the same way with either hand. And it's fully ambidextrous. Mantra, all you do is, your hand has to know where the lock bar is, but it opens and closes, no matter whether you're using the spider hole or the flipper, the same in either hand. And that's important to me. And I'm going to get off my soapbox. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and getting a look at the Slysz Bowie from Martin Slysz and Spyderco. It is a beautiful knife. It has some design flaw, in my opinion, being completely not left-handed. But overall, it is a beautiful knife, and I really do appreciate the design. I just wish they would fix this right here. And you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.